Hey y'all, welcome back. Today we're checking out a cake or a biscuit, the lengthy and expensive saga of the Jaffa Cake. I'm ready, y'all. I've got my tea, and look what came in the mail. I'm gonna try some. Never had them. Let's watch this video. What's up?
Hello, I'm Simon Whistler. This is Today I Found Out in the video today. A cake or a biscuit? The lengthy and expensive saga of the Jaffa Cake.
Good question. Y'all be sure to go to Today I Found Out and like and subscribe, but also, what is it? Is it a cake or it says cake on it. It looks like a biscuit though. Stick around to the end and watch me taste it for the first time. Be sure to like and subscribe.
For anyone watching this who, like me, happens to be from the UK, you're more than likely already well aware of what a Jaffa Cake is. For our viewers that haven't had the pleasure of sampling one of the greatest comfort foods ever created, they're little spongy chocolate-coated discs that contain a small amount of orange-flavoured jam, and they really are delicious. Oh, and there's another point here. They were also once at the centre of one of the fiercest court battles of the 1990s, with the lengthy and expensive case determining one and only one thing, whether or not the Jaffa Cake is a cake or a biscuit.
Why was this in the courts? Are they taxed different or something? What's the big deal? It's funny, I was just noticing on the front of this box. This is from the UK. I ordered it on Amazon, but it came from someplace in Leicester, and it says expiry date in UK format, DDMMYYYY, which I think means day, month, year. But here, underneath that, it says date, month, year, which is incorrect, isn't it? It should be day, month, year. Okay, let's hurry up with this video so I can eat.
Yes, really. But before we get to all of that, for the sake of the unfamiliar, we have to first discuss the thrilling and exciting world of European tax law and value-added tax. In a nutshell, value-added tax, commonly shortened to VAT or VAT, is described as being a type of consumption tax that is placed on a product whenever value is added at a stage of production and final sale. In essence, VAT is a tax that is paid by everyone involved with the manufacture of a given object or foodstuff and the consumer. For example, if a company in the UK wanted to make socks, they'd be charged VAT on the price of the raw materials used to make them. When that company sold the socks onto a retailer, the retailer would similarly be charged VAT on that sale. Finally, when the retailer sells the socks to the consumer will pay VAT on top of the price charged by the retailer.
That's a lot of taxing. They're triple dipping. That seems illegal. Might be time for a revolution.
At the time of the publishing of this video, the VAT rate in the UK is 20% for, to quote the official website of the British government, most goods and services.
That seems like a
because the
lot.
government isn't a cartoonishly
20%? Does the United States have a value-added tax? I feel like there is, we just don't always call it value-added tax. I think I used to sell cars, and there was a VAT on those. The American exception, why the US has no VAT system. Blah, blah, blah. Maybe we need it. The U.S. lacks a federal VAT system due to its federalist system of government, which delegates tax management responsibilities to individual states. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. State power.
Evil entity rubbing their hands together at the thought of charging people through the nose for everyday essentials. Right? A number of things are subjected to a reduced rate of VAT, currently 5%, while some other items are exempt from this tax altogether. Goods and services subjected to the reduced rate of VAT include things like mobility aids, like walking canes and those awesome scooters, and sanitary products, think tampons, panty liners, and other things that make certain men wary of looking in a woman's purse. As for things that are exempt from the tax entirely, this is mostly limited to goods and services that are considered essential or otherwise unfair to try and tax citizens for using.
Okay. That seems much more fair. Right? That seems much more fair. I know in the States, when you buy certain food items, it's not taxed, like milk or bread, because it's considered like a basic item, essential item, something like that.
things like stamps, burials, and end-of-life care, as well as actually most food.
Nice.
In regards
Okay.
to that last item, while most food, and by extension animal feed, is exempt from VAT, certain so-called luxury items are taxed at the normal rate. Such items include alcohol, mineral water, confectionaries, and rather unusually, biscuits that are covered with chocolate. Regular biscuits are notably exempt. This led to an embittered court battle between the British government and McVitie's in 1991 when British Customs and Excise decided that Jaffa Cakes should be reclassified as chocolate-covered biscuits and hence be liable to the standard rate of VAT. Jaffa Cakes had previously been considered to be cakes by Customs and Excise, something that is exempt from the tax. As such, one of the largest manufacturers of Jaffa Cakes, McVitie's, challenged this decision and took it all the way to the highest court in the land.
Wait, so McVitie's is not the only one that makes Jaffa Cakes? Is Jaffa Cake a kind of cake? Wait. This Jaffa has a little apostrophe over it, and the one on this screen does not. Is this imitation Jaffa Cake? Other than that, it looks legit. I'm gonna assume these are legit.
According to the official website for Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, the decision of the courts hinged on being able to clarify exactly what made a cake, and what made a biscuit, and arguing whether or not Jaffa Cakes conformed more to one definition or to the other.
Interesting.
Towards this end, the main arguments on behalf of Customs and Excise were that Jaffa Cakes are usually sold alongside biscuits, are roughly biscuit-shaped, and often consumed in place of them, adding that McVitie's themselves markets the product more like a biscuit than a cake. McVitie's countered this by stating that Jaffa Cakes were produced in a manner almost identical to that of a traditional sponge cake, and they contained the same basic ingredients: flour, eggs, and sugar.
So McVitie's is saying this is a cake, but they're marketed as biscuits because they're sold next to biscuits.
Flour, eggs, and sugar. McVitie's trump card, however, was pointing
Isn't that what's in a cookie or a biscuit?
out that cakes and biscuits go stale in almost opposite ways, with cakes turning hard as they go stale and biscuits turning soft. To illustrate
Why is that? Why is that? I guess maybe when they're first made, they have a certain amount of moisture and then the environment either sucks the moisture out or adds moisture in? Okay.
this point, McVitie's left a bunch of Jaffa Cakes out in the open and later presented them to the court, proving that, like cakes, they hardened as they went stale. According to the BBC, to really seal the deal, McVitie's baked a gigantic 12-inch version of the Jaffa Cake and brought it into court to show off how similar it is to a cake when blown up to normal cake size.
Okay.
For anyone wondering why the courts didn't take into account the fact that they're called Jaffa Cakes, well, the judge presiding over the case, Mr. D.C. Potter, was asked to consider this and ruled it to be of no serious relevance because a product's name often has little to do with its actual function.
Judge Potter.
In the end, the court decided that Jaffa Cakes were indeed cakes and McVitie's was allowed to continue selling the product without it being subject to VAT.
Okay.
And now some bonus facts. Pringles were originally called Pringles Newfangled Potato Chips. However, Pringles only contained about 42% potato-based content, with most of the rest being from wheat starch and various types of flour, including from corn and rice.
I didn't know that. I thought Pringles were chopped up potato or like potato remnants, like the leftover bits of the potato, and they just chopped it up and put it into a mash and then baked it. But there's rice in there? Okay.
Thus, the US Food and Drug Administration made them change the name because their product didn't technically meet the definition of a potato chip,
didn't know
so
that.
they were only allowed to use the word chip in very restrictive ways. Specifically, if they wanted to continue to use chip, they were only allowed to say Pringles potato chips made from dried potatoes. Not being too fond of this requirement, the company changed the name slightly, using potato crisps rather than potato chips. Today, of course, most people know them as just Pringles. Now, this actually brings us to a rather interesting UK connection. In order to avoid the value-added tax, Procter & Gamble...
Hang on. So if I look up Pringles, what does... I mean, I know in the UK they call them crisps. They are called crisps. Get out of here. Potato crisps. They sure are. Okay. Wow.
argued in the UK that Pringles should be considered a cake rather than a crisp, since only 42% of the product was made from potato and it is fashioned from dough. The company won in the High Court, and Pringles were briefly considered a cake in the UK. However, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs appealed the decision, and in 2009 the ruling was reversed and the company had to start paying the VAT.
Wow, yeah, that's a stretch. The Jaffa Cake, I get it. That's an argument. That's a winnable argument. Not that I've tried them, but a Pringle is a cake? Pringle, come on.
I really hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below. Do not forget to subscribe. We've got brand new videos just like this every day of the week. Also, over there on the right, some videos from the archives. And as always, thank you for watching.
Thank you, Simon. Y'all be sure to go to Today I Found Out and like and subscribe. But now, I'm gonna try a Jaffa Cake. Let's see. Okay, y'all. Let's do a little ASMR. Okay. It looks like they may have gotten a little melty on the boat over. And some of them are stuck together. That's okay. That's okay. Looks like it got a little warm. And they fused together and then it got cold again. For the ASMRs. I smell the orange and chocolate. Okay, y'all. I want to get a free floating one. It's not stuck. Okay. There it is. Oh, it is kind of spongy. I smell orange and chocolate. Okay. Oh, wow. That's cake. That's totally cake. It's soft, spongy. I would not have noticed the gel in there if they didn't mention it in that video, but I see it now. It looks black. You see it? It looks like it's chocolate, but maybe that's because I bit it. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's orange. Okay. Okay. Wait. Okay. Hang on. 2 at once. drinking tea today to fit with the Jaffa. Interesting. Okay, a few things I'm noticing. First of all, I love them. They're great. They're delicious. They're so easy to eat because they're mostly air. And there's chocolate. But it's like the orange and the chocolate go really well together because the orange is not like a bright, sweet orange soda kind of orange. It's like there's a little bit of bitterness to it, if you've ever eaten an orange rind, it's kind of like that. But that bitterness fits with the chocolate really well. Because chocolate has some bitterness sometimes, right? And then does the cake have flavor of its own? I guess the cake is there for texture, and it's a delivery method. I don't taste anything in the cake, really. Not even salt. You know what's interesting is I find myself keep wanting to eat them because I want that hit of bitterness, you know? And it's almost there. But it's like when you eat a Dorito and it's like every flavor is equal, so it makes you wanting to keep getting that hit. I've almost eaten the whole sleeve here. Yeah. Yeah, it's like the bitter and the sweet are equal. Yeah. These are obviously not the freshest, but they're still good. I would love to try some fresh because I bet the texture is a little bit nicer. One sleeve down, 2 more to go. Wow. Delightful. I guess that was my lunch. Wow. Wow. Goes well with tea. Goes really well with tea. Because that bitterness from the orange and the chocolate is also blending in with the bitterness of the tea. Well done, McVitie. I tried Jaffa Cakes. A thought that has come to my mind a couple times and I haven't said it is that someone should make a version of Jaffa Cakes called Java Cakes. And instead of orange, it should be coffee flavor. Like coffee cake and chocolate. Has that ever been done? I don't think so, although there is Java Cakes. I don't think that's the same thing. Delicious. Wow. These are delightful. McVitie's, call me. Let's do a collab. Well, I'd like to thank my patrons. I'd like to thank my Buy Me a Coffee folks. Thank y'all for watching this with me, and I'll see you next time. Later.